Okay, so our next area is process costing. We have 4 cost accumulation systems in your syllabus. We have already covered job order costing, activity based costing, and life cycle costing. This is the 4th one, process costing, which is considered to be a complex cost accumulation system. Yes, it's little different, but it can be done if you follow the right approach. So basically all these 4 cost accumulation systems, what they do, they accumulate, add up the cost. In job order costing, we accumulate costs based upon different jobs. In ABC, we accumulate costs through different departments or activities. In life cycle costing, we accumulate cost over the life of a product. Whereas in process costing, we will accumulate cost of different processes, process 1, process 2, process 3, and so on and so forth. Let's say a company has 3 processes, and good pass from one process, they are completed here, and then they are transferred to the process 2. Then some work is done in process 2, and then it is transferred to process 3. We have to calculate the cost of each process. Let me show you how the whole process works through this flow diagram. This will be a little helpful. Let's say a company has 2 departments or 2 processes. This is your department A. This is your department B. You can call it as a process A, process B. Right. Each of these departments will have some beginning work in process, means some units which are partly finished and on which we are doing some work. Then what happens during the period, we use some material, usage of direct material. This direct material comes from where? Of course, from our raw material inventory. So this material comes in this process this way. We know very well that there are 4 costs of productions: direct material, that can be directly traced, direct labor, variable overheads, and fixed overheads. Sometimes they are collectively called manufacturing overheads. Please note, in process costing, we combine costs in 2 categories. In process costing, we combine costs in 2 categories. One category is simply what you call the direct material. And other category is the sum of direct labor and variable and fixed overheads. These are the 2 categories which I've highlighted. Let me just include in separate blocks. So this is your first category, material, and this is your second category, which includes direct material, direct labor, variable overhead, fixed overhead. This category of cost, gentlemen, is called the conversion cost. I hope you remember, conversion cost is the sum of direct labor plus manufacturing overhead. So we will have 2 categories of cost, direct material and conversion cost, and that is exactly what you see here, that you have utilized some material from your warehouse and then you use some conversion cost. Look at this very closely, incurrence of conversion cost. And when you say conversion cost, you're talking about 3 things. Conversion costs include direct labor, conversion cost includes variable overheads, conversion cost includes fixed overheads. So please remember, we will consider these 3 costs combined in process costing. So far what we have learned, that the process A or department A have some beginning work in process. We added some material during the period and we added some conversion cost during the period. Resultantly, we were able to complete few units and we completed those units to the next department. As you can see, this is now moving out from process 1 or process A and it goes out to process B. Now let's say we had 1000 units overall for the period. Out of this, 800 units are being transferred to the next department and the remaining 200 are in your work in process called the ending work in process. Now our main problem or our main issue would be how to find the value of these 800 units that have been transferred to the next department, department B, and how to value this ending work in process. This is the main issue. This is the main issue, and almost all questions in process costing involve these two issues: how to value the goods that have been completed and how to value the goods that are in work in progress. Now let's move on to the next department. When we move to the next department, which is your department B or process B, we have a separate account for this, work in process department B. This department will have some of its beginning work in process on which work was being continuing. Then some units were transferred from process A to process B. This is called the transferred in cost. From here it was transferred out, and here it's transferred in. So we just, for the sake of our example, we took these 800 units. So these 800 units were transferred out of department A, and now they are in department B. All right. Now, what this department did, this department added some material during the period, addition of direct material. And I told you the second category of cost is the conversion cost, which we know and we just discussed is the sum of three things, that is direct labor, variable overheads, and fixed overheads. So we don't consider these separately. We just use the word conversion cost, and that's what you will see in the questions that we will do. So the third then is addition of the conversion cost, which I just told you is the sum of three things. Now this department will again do some work on the units. Eventually, this is the last department, last process, department B. Once the goods are completed in this department, the completed goods are transferred to finished goods inventory, and the items that are not completed, they are shown in the ending work in process. Issue is still the same. How do we value these goods that have been transferred out? Let's say they are 980 units. Just these are the assumed numbers. How to value these 980 units? How do we value? What is the value of these goods that have been transferred to the finished goods inventory? And how do we value some units that are in ending work in process? How to value them? That is the main issue, gentlemen, in your process costing. How to value the goods that have been transferred out, and how to value the ending work in process in any department or any process. For valuation, there are two methods. One is called the FIFO method. We'll discuss them in detail. And other method is called the weighted average. We'll do the questions which will explain this idea very well. Weighted average method. How to value the finished goods that are completed and how to value the ending work in process. Before we learn these two methods clearly, we first need to find out something very important. There are basically three steps in valuation. Let me write down these three steps and we will do these one by one, inshallah. First step, step 1, is the calculation of equivalent units of production. First step, gentlemen, is to calculate EUP. What are EUPs? I'll explain everything. Second step, step 2, calculate EUP for material and conversion cost, because I told you there are just these two costs, material and conversion cost. So first step is to calculate the equivalent unit of production for material and conversion cost. Once we have calculated EUP for material and conversion cost, next step is to calculate per unit rate for material and conversion cost equivalent units of production. I will explain these steps in detail today so you fully understand what is process costing. So first step is to calculate the equivalent units of production for material and conversion cost separately. In the second step, you need to calculate per unit rate for material and conversion cost. And the last step, which is the most important one, is that you can value goods completed and ending work in process. How to value, this is the main issue I told you, how to value the goods that have been completed and how to value the ending work in process. Let us discuss these steps one by one. First step is to calculate the equivalent units of production for material and conversion cost. I told you your cost of production will be split into these two categories only. One is the material cost and another is the conversion cost. This is the first step. So let us first discuss what is EUP. Once we learn how to calculate EUP, then we will discuss these the two methods, FIFO and weighted average. So let's keep these steps here because we will come back to them again. These are the two methods which we will be doing: weighted average method of valuation and first in first out method of valuation. I will explain them in detail what they are. So we are basically doing the first step, calculate the EUP for material and conversion cost. What is EUP? EUP are called the equivalent units of production. Means, let's say if I have been given some material and if I add some conversion cost, using that material, how many completed units can I make? Maybe in reality, they are just 3 units. But, just a minute, gentlemen. So, I told you, you need to split your cost in two categories, material and conversion cost. And you need to calculate the equivalent unit of production, EUPs. EUPs for material and EUPs for conversion cost. Let's say I have a certain material, and using that material, I just completed some units. Now the point is, the material that I have added, this material was sufficient only to produce 2 units. Material was sufficient only to produce just 2 units, unit 1 and unit 2. But when you count physically and go to the stock, there are 3 units, unit 1, 2 and 3. Which means these 3 units are the physical units. Physically they exist in the warehouse. These are the physical units which I can see, which I can touch. They are there. But the material that has been given to me, it was sufficient only to produce 2 units. These 2 units do not exist. These are imaginary units. Please, gentlemen, remember, EUPs are imaginary units. They do not really exist. EUPs are imaginary units for calculation purposes. So these 2 units are imaginary units because the material that was given to me, it was sufficient only to produce 2 units. Whereas in reality, when you went to the warehouse, there were 3 units which were partly completed. Now, you have to make you have to use very clear distinction. There are 3 physical units which are partly completed. Some have material, some don't have. But the material that was given to me, like for example, let's say the material that was given to me was 2 kg. Each unit takes 1 kg, right? So what did I do? I used these 2 kgs and produced 3 units. Some contain 600 grams, some contains maybe 400 grams, some contain 1000 grams. So these are physical units there, but they are not complete. But the material that was given to me, it was sufficient to produce 2 units. So we can say that in a reality, there are 3 physical units which I can touch, but the material that was given to me, it was sufficient only to produce 2 units. So we can say that in reality, there are 3 physical units, but for computational purpose, we imagine that there are 2 imaginary units which are 100% complete. Full 1 kg material was added here, full 1 kg material was added here. These hypothetical, imaginary, assumed units are called the EUPs. This is the first step you need to do. You have to distinguish between physical units and EUPs. We will use EUPs for calculation purposes. I will explain in detail how to calculate EUPs. We'll do the same thing with conversion cost. We know conversion cost is made up of 3 things: direct labor, variable overheads and fixed overheads. We won't separate them. Rather, we will use just one word, conversion cost. So I calculated my conversion cost, and the conversion cost that was added during the period was sufficient to produce 4 units. For example, just these are imaginary numbers. So the conversion cost that was added was enough to produce 4 units. But in reality, when I counted the units, there were maybe 5 units. Now, in reality, there are 5 units. But the conversion cost that was added, it was sufficient enough to complete 4 units, 4 imaginary assumed units. So I will say that for the calculation purposes, yes, there are 3 physical units, but for my calculations, I have 2 units of material, 2 equivalent units of production of material. For my calculation, I will use these imaginary, not the physical. And similarly, there are 5 units related to conversion cost, but in my computations, I will take only 4 units of conversion cost. So this is the first step. I will explain in detail. How do we calculate EUPs? What is the information to be used? And how do we draw up the table and how we do the calculations. So just remember, EUPs or equivalent units of productions are imaginary numbers which we use for calculation purposes under weighted average and under first in first out method. Remember, you just need EUPs of material, equivalent units of conversion cost, and you need to distinguish between what are the physical units present actually and what are the equivalent units. We need the equivalent units of production for our calculations. So this is the first step. So what we are doing here, the first step is to calculate the EUPs for material separately and for conversion cost separately. In the second step, you calculate per unit rate for material and conversion cost EUPs, and in the third step you do the valuation. Now let's focus on the first step. How do we calculate EUPs? For the purpose of calculation of EUPs, you need to divide your production units into 3 categories, into 3 populations. Those units which were already in the beginning work in process, those units which were started and completed during the period, and those units which are in ending work in process. You have to divide your EUPs into 3 categories: EUPs of material and EUPs of conversion cost into 3 populations, into 3 categories: beginning work in process, started and completed, and ending work in process. Let's try this into an actual question. So we have a question here that will explain how do we calculate EUPs under the FIFO method. In the same question, you will learn how to calculate EUPs under the weighted average method. So this method is good because it will explain the EUP calculations under both methods. So let's read the question. I told you, and you just saw, that you need to divide your units of production into 3 categories. I need my pointer here. I need my units of production into 3 categories that we have just learned. Beginning work in process. This is the first category. The units started and completed, and the ending work in process. I need my equivalent units of production in these 3 categories. And for which equivalent units we have, I told you, we will have separate equivalent units of production for material, and we will have equivalent units of production for conversion cost. They must be separated. Okay, now let's read the question, and let's first do the first step. Calculate equivalent units of production for material and conversion cost. Leviton Company employs a process cost system for its manufacturing operations. Okay. All materials, all direct materials are added at the beginning of the process. Material is added at the beginning of the process. When the process starts, material is added. And conversion costs are added proportionately. Conversion costs are added step by step. Leviton production quantity schedule for November is reproduced as follows. So they have given you the detail of production quantity that they have worked upon in November. Let's take these and see what we can do with these numbers. Okay. Work in process November 1st. Remember, we have to calculate EUPs from 2 perspectives. EUPs for material, EUPs for conversion cost. So work in process in November, they were physically, remember, these are the physical units. These are the physical units. We are looking not for physical units, we are looking for imaginary units, hypothetical units called the equivalent units. So let us write our physical units in blue color here. Our beginning work in process was 1000 units. Put this in blue color. Okay, so this is 1000. That is the beginning work in process given right here. I've used this number. Then during the period, we started work on these 5000 units. Okay, 5000 units we started work on. Out of these, how many units did we complete? We need to answer this question. Out of these 5000 units, it says Units started and completed during November. We started work on 5,000 units. Out of these 5,000 units, we completed 3,000 units, and remaining 2,000 units are still being work in process. Which means if we started work on 5,000 units, 3,000 are completed and 2,000 are not completed. Which means our started and completed, the units that we started and completed is 3,000. Okay. Now, units started and completed is 3,000. How many units are there that are in ending work in process? It is given right here. Work in process on November 30th, 2,000. So you can put this 2,000 here. Please remember, gentlemen, these blue are real, actual physical units. We don't need them. We need the hypothetical or imaginary numbers for our calculations. Right? That's what we need. Okay, now, you just read with me that in this process, all direct materials are added at the beginning of the process. Material is added at the start. Right? Please remember, there are two methods to value your goods and work in process in the process costing. One is FIFO, other is weighted average. Please note and read carefully and watch this video later repeatedly. Under FIFO method, we consider only the current work and current cost. We consider only the current period costs and work only for the current period. The work done previously is ignored in FIFO. Only the current period costs, current period work. Nothing else. Now listen to me very carefully. There are 1,000 physical units existing at the start of the period on which all direct material have already been added in the previous period. The question is, how much material did we add in the current period? Maafi, no material added. Why? Because under FIFO we consider only the current period cost, current period work. The previous period cost incurred is ignored. Only we take current period. Since these beginning work in process, physically they are 1,000, yes. But imaginary units, we did not add any material during the current period on these 1,000 because the material was already added in the previous period. Okay, what about the conversion cost? Look at this, these 1,000 units. 60% complete as to conversion cost. These 1,000 units, they already have 60% conversion cost added in the previous period, which means we added only the remaining 40% conversion cost on these units. So you take this percentage, 40% work done during the current period, and take 40% of 1,000 gives you 400. Which means, yes, physically they are 1,000 units actually existing at the beginning of work in process. But hypothetically, we worked only up to 400 units because 60% work was already done. Under FIFO, we take only current cost. So current cost added was only 40% of 1,000, that is 400. No material was added, Maafi material added under the current period, 0. Now listen, these 3,000 units on which we started the work during the period, when we started the work on these 3,000 units, we added all the material during the current period. Because when we started the work, we added all the material during the current period. When we started the work on these and completed them, we added all the conversion costs. That is why 100% material was added during the current period, 100% conversion cost is added because they are completed. Now the last line, ending work in process. There are 2,000 ending work in process physically. Look at this. It says work in process on November 30th. It is 20% complete as to conversion cost. Remember, these 2,000 units are out of these 5,000 units on which we started work during the period. So if we started work on these units during the period, so we would have added full material during the current period. When we started work on these 2,000 units, we added 20% of the conversion cost. What is conversion cost? It's the sum of direct labor and variable and fixed costs. So 20% was added conversion cost, 20% of 2,000, 400. Now gentlemen, this is important. There are total of 6,000 actual physical units actual units that exist. But for our calculation under FIFO, 0 beginning work in process was added in material, started and completed, 100% material was added, and these 2000 units, 100% material was added. So under FIFO, the equivalent units of material is 5000. Under FIFO, the equivalent units of production of conversion cost 3 plus 400, 3800. So yes, physically they are 6000 units, 1 plus 3, 4 plus 2, 6000. But for material point of view, our imaginary assumed material units will be considered 5000. We will consider this for calculation, not this. And then for conversion cost, there are just 3800 units for calculation purpose under FIFO. So the question says using FIFO, equivalent units for direct material 5000. So if you click on 5000, you get it the right answer. Next question. We have already done it. It says under FIFO, Leviton's equivalent unit for conversion cost for November. Equivalent units for conversion costs are 3800. That gives you B to be the correct option. Now let us do the same question using weighted average and see the difference. Everything is the same. Kullu miya fi miya, information, units are the same. How do we do it using weighted average? Now just compare. Under weighted average, let me erase what is not needed. Eraser. This is the eraser here. Now we are going to consider the weighted average and see how it works. Okay. Now under weighted average makes no distinction what was done previously, what was done now. Under weighted average, no distinction between what was done in the past, what is done now. No distinction. What was done in the previous period, what is done in the current period, there is no distinction. You have to take the 100% cost. Like now, let's see, what are the changes you will make in this? Let's do this all from 0. So you will know what exactly are we doing. Okay. So under the weighted average method, there is no distinction, mafi difference between what is done previously, what is done current. We have to take the total. Now, beginning work in process, 1000 units complete. We added material in the previous period. We added no material during the current period. So whether previous period or current period, under weighted average method, your beginning work in process is always 100% full. Mafi difference between previous period or current period. Beginning work in process must always be 100% because weighted average method makes no distinction between previous or current. Okay. Then what about the conversion cost? Conversion cost under weighted average method is also assumed to be 100%. No matter 60% was added in the previous period, 40% under current period. We combine previous and current. That is why under weighted average method, beginning work in process is always 100%. Beginning and ending work in process of conversion cost, it is always 100%. Kullu 100%. Then what about started and completed? Started and completed, these units were started during the period and completed. So kullu material was added. These units were started and completed, so kullu conversion cost was added during the period. It is always, so this is important. Remember, under weighted average, beginning work in process and started and complete, they will always be 100%. Simply take these numbers here, 1000, 1000, 1000, 3000, 3000. This is always the case. And then under ending work in process, the idea is the same as we done in the previous FIFO method. These 2000 units were started during the period. So we would have added the full material during the current period. But these 2000 units, which we started during the period, we just added 20% conversion cost during the period, which means 20% of 2000, 400. Now, if someone asks you, what is the equivalent unit of production of material under the weighted average, 1, 3, 4, 6, 6000. This is the first step. So what is the equivalent unit of production of conversion cost? 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 4, 30, 4400. Let us match our answers. Now, what is the equivalent units for direct material for November? 6000. D. Is it D? Yes. Okay, then what is the equivalent units for conversion cost for November? It's 4400. Is it 4400? Yes, 4400. So gentlemen, this was the first step. This was the first step which we have done. We will do it again. Just now we'll do this again. The first step is to calculate the equivalent unit of production for material and conversion cost. The next step is to calculate the per unit rate for material and conversion cost. And in the third step, we do the valuation. Let us do a huge question. Huge question. There are 6 or 7 parts to this question. We will calculate the EUPs for material and conversion cost again under FIFO and weighted average. We will do the second step. We'll calculate the rate, and we will also calculate the values of goods completed and ending work in process. All these 3 steps are going to be done in this amazing question. Now, this is a beautiful, wonderful question that will tell you how do we value goods under FIFO and weighted average. How do we calculate the equivalent units of production for conversion cost and material? Everything, all these 3 steps are coming. So let us do first this question using FIFO. Then we will do the same question using weighted average, and we will do all these 3 steps. So let's read the question and first clear up the space for calculations. All right, here we go. Albani Mining Corporation uses process costing systems for its ore extraction operations. The following information pertains to work in process inventories and operations for the month of May. All right. So we have a beginning work in process, which is 60% complete as to material, 20% complete as to conversion cost. We started work on 200,000 units and we completed a total of 84,000 units, and still ending work in process is 48,000, which is 90% complete to material and 40% complete to conversion cost. Interesting thing is we have been given the detail of material and labor in the opening work in process, material and labor and conversion cost in the material added during the month of May. Beautiful question. So if you understand this question, your process costing is 100% covered. Except for normal and abnormal loss. We'll discuss that after this question, inshallah. So gentlemen, under FIFO, we will first have to calculate the equivalent units. So let's do the calculations related to equivalent units. How do we do that? That's a beautiful method of doing it. We know what to do. We will divide our production into 3 categories: beginning work in process, started and completed, and ending work in process. We need to have these 3 categories of productions. Okay. How many units do we have in the beginning work in process? 32,000. Write it there. These are the actual physical units. We don't need them. We need the equivalent units. That's what is required. Okay. Then it says we started work on 200,000 units. Okay. And we completed 184,000 units. Gentlemen, attention. If we completed 184,000 units, so if we completed 184,000 units, out of these 32,000 units are from the beginning work in process, right? If 184,000 units are completed, then out of these 32,000 are from the beginning work in process. So 184 less 32, 152. This 152,000, gentlemen, is the unit started and completed. Because if you completed 184,000 units, out of these 184, 32,000 were already there, which were completed. So if 184 less 32 means 152,000 is the number of units that we started and completed. Remember, it's 152. Okay, now if it is true, then my maths should tally. I started work on 200,000 units, started in production. Out of this, the calculation tells me 152,000 are completed. If out of 200,000, 152 are completed, how many are not completed? 200 less 152? Yes, perfect match, 48,000. So ending work in process is 48,000, which is still not complete. My maths is perfectly balanced here, that there were 32,000 in the beginning work in process. 184 less 32, 152,000 units are started and completed 100%. And the remaining 48,000 are the units which are ending work in process, which are not complete. So what we need the EUPs, equivalent units, hypothetical imaginary numbers For material, we need imaginary numbers for our conversion cost. How do we do that? Please remember FIFO, 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 FIFO. First in, first out. It assumes only the current costs. The costs that are added in the previous period, maafi. No cost for the only the current period cost. FIFO considers only the current period cost. Now, gentlemen, listen to me very carefully. There were 32,000 units in the beginning work in process. They were already 60% complete in the previous period. 60% already complete. How much was done during the current period? 40%. So I'm going to take the 40% of this amount. 40% of 32,000, that will give me 32,000 times 40%. That is 12,800. This is the current EUPs for material under FIFO. Similarly, there were 20% conversion costs already added in these 32,000 units. If 20% cost was already added in the previous period, I don't want previous period. What is added in the current period? 80%. 80%. So I'm going to take the 80% of 32,000 because this is current period incurrence. 80% of 32,000 Haza, that's 25,600. So gentlemen, this is the important point. Under FIFO, you consider only the current work of material, current work of conversion cost. Not 60, it was already done, only 40%. 20% was already done, I'll take 80%. So it's going to be 12,800 for material and 25,600 for conversion cost. Next, remember, started and completed, it is always 100%, whether it is weighted average or FIFO. Why? Because these are the units which we started during the period and completed during the period, always 100%. Now look at the last line. There are 48,000 physical units which we started during the current period, and we only added 90% during the current period, which means 48,000 multiplied by 90%, 43,200. Then we added how much conversion cost? 40%. 48,000 times 40%, 19,200. Right? So there are 43,200 of EUPs of material, 19,200 EUPs of conversion cost added during the current period. If you total these, you should get your answer. 12800 plus 152,000 plus 43,200 gives you total of 208,000. These are the EUPs of material. Then 25,600 plus 152 plus 19,200 gives you a total of 196,800. Now just match your answers. Under the FIFO method, equivalent units of material 208. That makes B to be the correct option. Goes blue. Next, under FIFO method, Albani mining equivalent units of conversion cost. Equivalent units of production of conversion cost 196,800. Do we have it there? Absolutely. D. So gentlemen, this is the first step. Under the second step, if you go back, the second step is to calculate per unit rate for material and conversion cost EUP. Again, second step, we have learned how to calculate EUPs of material and conversion cost. Second step is to calculate the per unit rate for material and conversion cost EUPs. Second step. How do we do that? Pretty straightforward. Okay, per unit rate. How much material did we add during the current period? Why? Because FIFO considers only the current costs, only the current work. So if you want to calculate the rate for material, the material, I don't care what was in the beginning work in process. Khalas, in the FIFO, I ignore this. I will consider what was the material added during the current period. 468. This is the material added during the month of May. This was the material added on how many units? Not these 208. You divide 468 with 208,000. You will get the rate for material. So 468,000 divided by 208. The rate is 2.25. A nice whole number, 2.25. Even in decimal. So the rate for material is $2.25, which nicely matches with option B. See, it goes blue. Then in the next step, we have to calculate the rate equivalent unit conversion cost for May, for conversion cost. What is conversion cost? Conversion cost is sum of direct labor and the factory overhead or manufacturing overhead. So if you add these two, this is the sum of these two conversion costs, divide them with the units of conversion cost, which is 196,800. Now if you do that, 182,880 plus 391,160 divided by 196,800. It gives you 2.916, gives me 2.916, which is approximately 2.92, which is right here, A. So this is how the second step is, you calculate the rate. Now comes the third step, valuation. Valuation, this is the third step. Let me show you. We have learned how to calculate the EUPs for material and EUPs for conversion cost under weighted average in FIFO. We have calculated per unit rate for material and conversion cost. Now it's the time to value the goods completed and the ending work in process. This is the third step. And this is what it says. Under the FIFO method, Albani Mining total cost of ending units in the ending work in process. So what is the valuation of the ending work in process? What is the valuation of ending work in process? No. I'm not going to take this 4,800. No. These are physical units. For calculation purposes, you should always take these equivalent units, data from here, not the physical unit. This is important. Now, if I want to value my ending work in process, yes, physically they are 48,000. But from material point of view, they are 43,200. From conversion cost point of view, there are 48,000 physical units, but from conversion cost point of view, they are 19,200. Now, from material point of view, from materials perspective, there are 43,200 EUPs of material. Each EUP of material has a rate of 2.25. From conversion cost point of view, I have 19,200 EUPs of conversion cost, and each unit of EUP has a valuation of 2.92. Multiply this with 2.92. So, no, I don't have 48,000 units. They are physical. These are the units I'm taking. See? These are the units I'm taking for valuation. EUPs I'm taking for valuation. So, 43,200 into 2.25. 43,200 into 2.25 plus 190,200 into 2.92, it gives me 153,264. $153,264. This is the value of these actual 48,000 units. Actually, they are 48,000 units. But for valuation, I am using these numbers. So this is the value of my ending work in process. This is what the whole issue is all about, that how to value the goods completed, how to value the ending work in process. Now, let's redo the whole question, the whole of this question using the weighted average method. How do we do using the weighted average? Let's see. So I'm going to erase everything and I'm going to do, or what we can do, just for the sake of comparison, so you can make good comparison. Let us just erase the mess and let's do this working here so you can make a comparative analysis. So everything stays the same and you will see where the difference is going to be. The difference between weighted average and FIFO, you will make it much clearer here. Okay, all done. So what is the difference between weighted average and FIFO? Just look at this screen carefully. What I'm going to do. The difference is only in the beginning work in process. Because under weighted average method, your beginning work in process is always 100%, 32,030. Rest of it the same, no difference. Started and ending work in process, started and completed is the same. Ending work in process is the same. Just the difference you need to remember. Under weighted average, beginning work in process is always whatever is here, 32, 32. But under the FIFO method, you only consider that cost in the beginning work in process which was added during the current period. We took 40% for material and we took 80% for conversion cost. But in the weighted average, we take it full. Okay. Now, if you calculate the total equivalent units of material is going to be 32,000 plus 152,000 plus 43,200. So equivalent units of production of material, they are 227,200. What about EUPs of conversion cost? 32,000 plus 152,000 plus 19,200. They are 203,200. So if you ask me, the first step under weighted average, what are the equivalent units of production? Under weighted average for material, it is 227,200, and for conversion cost, it's 203,200. So, gentlemen, that was the first step. Second step, the rate. Second step is the calculation of the rate for material and the EUP rate for conversion cost. Remember, weighted average considers the previous direct material and the current direct material, both. We have discussed that in weighted average, current and previous period are considered both. So material in the previous period and the current period are combined, 54,560 plus 54,560 plus 468,000. Total material in the beginning work in process and added, divided by 227,200. 227,200. Divided by 227,200. This gives me a beautiful rate, $2.3. I call it beautiful because there is just one place after decimal. And perfectly matches with option C. So this is going to be my rate for material, 2.3. Okay. What about the conversion cost? Conversion cost means the direct labor and factory overhead. Since it's weighted average, we are going to consider the opening conversion cost and the conversion cost added during the current period. We are going to combine all these in red and divide them with the equivalent unit of production of conversion cost, which is 203,200. 203,200. Right? And let's see what's the result. 20,320 was the opening labor. 15,240 was the opening factory overhead. 182,880 was the labor incurred during the current period, and 391,160. They're all from here. 391,160 is the factory overhead for the current period. Total comes out to be 609,600 divided by 203,200. 203,200. That gives me a beautiful number. I like this. Complete number, $3. $3. So it's going to be $3 per unit of conversion cost. Beautiful. This is the second step. We have calculated rate. What is the equivalent unit cost of material for May? Material for May is 2.3. That is C. C goes blue. In the next question, under the weighted average method, mining equivalent unit conversion cost, you just calculated it was complete $3 per unit, and $3 per unit it is. Now, let us, I think in the next question, did he ask for valuation? No, he didn't ask for valuation. Let us do it ourselves. Now, gentlemen, listen to me very, very carefully. We have done it. This is 3, already calculated. Now, I want you to value my ending work in process. I want you to value the goods completed during the period. First, let's calculate how do we value the ending work in process. For valuation, no. I'm not going to take this. I'm going to take the equivalent units. There are 43,200 equivalent units of material to be valued at the rate of 2.3 for ending work in process. There are 19,200 EUPs of conversion costs in ending work in process to be valued at the rate of 3. So 19,200 multiplied by 3. This will give me the valuation for the ending work in process. Let me do it for you. Question didn't ask, but let's do it for our understanding. 43,200 times 2.3 plus 19,200 multiplied by 3. This gives me 156,960. This is the valuation of ending work in process. Okay. Now, if you ask me, sir, what is the value for the goods completed? No. I will take what is there. How many units did we complete? 32 plus 152. 32 and 152. Since they are the same, 32 and 152 give you 184. So there are 184,000 EUPMs of material to be valued at the rate of 2.3. 32 plus 152, 184. 184 EUPs of conversion cost to be valued at the rate of 3. If you combine all this, this will give you the value of the goods completed during the current period. So 184,000 multiplied by 2.3 plus 184,000 multiplied by 3 gives me 975,200. So gentlemen, that was the overall idea, that the first step is to calculate the EUPs, equivalent units of production, hypothetical imaginary units. First step. Second step is to calculate the rate. And once the rate has been calculated, you can use these rates to value your ending work in process and your goods completed. Now there is a $1 million question. $1 million question. That this was B. We just did this a little while ago. There's a $1 million question that under FIFO method, I just conveniently cut this number. Do we ignore this? Do we just totally ignore under FIFO? Yes, FIFO considers current cost, but does it mean that we just totally ignore what is added in the previous period? Of course, we can't ignore cost. We can't just throw the cost away. We have paid money for that. Then what we do? Under the FIFO method. Under the FIFO method, please gentlemen remember, under the FIFO method, when we transfer the goods out, what we do? We take in the cost incurred during the current period for material, and to that we add the material added in the previous period, and then we transfer this bundle to the next department. Similarly, what we added in the current period for conversion cost, to that we add the beginning conversion cost, and then we transfer this bundle to the next department. So it's not that the the FIFO ignores the previous period material and conversion cost. FIFO considers only current cost for rate calculations, for valuation. But when the goods are transferred, the previous period costs are added and then transferred out. This is nicely explained in the question that is coming after this. We have done all these parts here. This is the question. FIFO requires separate costing of goods started last period, costs are separated, and the finished this period, and goods started and completed this period. The weighted average method doesn't make this distinction. Weighted average combines all the previous costs, current costs, but FIFO keeps them separate. Which is true statement about the cost of completed goods transferred under FIFO to the next production department or to the finished goods? So what is true under FIFO? We have just learned that in FIFO, we keep the costs separate, the current cost and the previous costs. But when the goods are transferred, these costs are combined and then transferred to the next department. Now, if this is the statement, then read this option, all these options, tell me which of these is the right answer. The two amounts, the current and the previous, two amounts are considered combined as the goods are transferred. Remember, when the goods are transferred, the previous costs and current costs are combined and they are transferred to the next department. We cannot ignore the costs that have been incurred in the previous period. They must be added together and then the goods are transferred. Now, The next area is to treat the normal and abnormal spoilage. Let me explain the idea of normal and abnormal spoilage from this question. Okay, now we need to understand the difference between the normal spoilage and the abnormal spoilage. Now let me explain the idea of normal and abnormal spoilage. It's not very difficult. The normal spoilage is a loss in production that is expected. Nothing unusual about this. That is expected. It is expected, so this it remains part of our cost of production. It remains the part of, so we don't separately treat it. It is added to cost of production. So normal spoilage, normal loss, normal spoilage, these are the loss units which are expected. That happens. It's a normal part of production. So what we do with this loss, this spoilage, this loss is kept or it is added into the cost of production, to the cost of good units. We don't separate it. But any loss that is not expected, like for example, you produce 100 units every month, for example, and out of these, normally 5 units are wasted. This is always the case. So this 5 units is considered as the normal spoilage. This happens. This is what we lose every month. So this is normal spoilage. This is normal spoilage. But if in any month, if we lose more than 5, let's say in a particular month we lost 9 units. So out of those 9 units, 5 was normal, that was expected. But the extra 4 units which we wasted, this is called the abnormal spoilage. This should not happen. This is called the abnormal spoilage. So the loss that is expected in the production process, it is called normal spoilage. But the loss that should not happen, it is called the abnormal spoilage. Your question will clearly tell you which is normal, which is abnormal. So how do we treat that? Please remember, normal spoilage is not separately treated. It remains within the good units. Its cost is charged to good units. You can say the cost is charged to good units. Its cost is not separated. Whatever is produced in good units, the cost is kept within good units. But the abnormal spoilage, this should not have happened. What we do with the abnormal spoilage, we separate the cost of abnormal spoilage and we treat it as a loss for the period separately in the income statement. So please, I'm going to repeat, the normal spoilage is expected. That is normal, happens. So we don't do it any separate treatment. We simply keep it within the good units. But the abnormal spoilage, it is removed. It is charged separately as a loss for the period. This question is a nice one because it explains the idea very well. Southwood Industry uses process costing system and inspects its goods at the end of manufacturing. When the manufacturing is completed, then we inspect whether the units are good or not. The inspection as of June 30th revealed the following information for the month. There were good units, 16,000, which were perfectly fine. There were 300 units which were damaged, spoiled, but that was normal. That happens every month or every period. So there is nothing wrong with it. This is okay. 300 units are okay. But these 100 units, maafi quiz, these are not expected. It should not have happened. This loss is called the abnormal spoilage. Bad for the company. Now, what we have learned, what we've just discussed, that these 300 units, we do nothing with them. This cost is kept within the good units. Or we just said that it is charged to good units. It is charged to good units. This loss is charged to good units or kept within the good units. But this abnormal spoilage, it is separated and charged as a loss. Charged as a loss. That's what we do. Okay, it says that each unit we produce, it takes material of 3.5 and conversion cost of $6. Each unit we produce, this much material is used and this much is conversion cost is used. The question says the number of units that Southwood would transfer to its finished goods inventory and the related cost. Remember, there are 16,000 good units. 300 are spoiled, but they are the normal. We expect that happens. This 100 is abnormal. First of all, the units that are transferred to the finished goods are only the good units. So which means only 16,000 is the right option. This one is incorrect. Only 16,000 units are transferred to the finished goods inventory. The question is, what should be the value of these good units? We have just learned if these are 16,000 units, we add $3.5 worth of material plus $6 worth of conversion cost. So the cost of these 16,000 units should be 3.5 plus 6 multiplied by 16,000, 152. But these 300 units which we have lost, the cost of these 300 units, 3.5 material and $6 for conversion cost, total 9.5 multiplied by 300. This cost is charged to good units. We just said normal spoilage charged to good units. The loss of normal spoilage, it is added to the good units. So the good units will have a total cost of 152,000 plus 285. It's going to be 154,850. So the units that you transfer to your finished goods is 16,000, and the cost that these good units will have, not 152, rather they will also carry the normal spoilage of 2850. So the total will be 154. That's your answer. Now the question, what about these goddamn 100 units which were wasted? There was $3.5 worth of material, $6 worth of conversion cost. So it gives you a total of $950. This $950, gentlemen, is going to be treated as a loss for the period. It goes to the income statement as a loss. So this is something very important to learn, that the normal spoilage is charged to good units. It becomes the cost of production, whereas abnormal spoilage is separated and charged as a loss for the period. And that's the reason it makes B to be our correct option. All right, so that completes your process costing.